What if I told you that the Monopoly Man never had a monocle, or that Pikachu never had a black-tipped tail? You might say, wait, yes he did. Well, welcome to the Mandela Effect. In this video, we're diving deep into one of the most mysterious psychological phenomena of our time. The Mandela Effect is a phrase that's become an internet phenomenon, sparking debate, curiosity, and even a sense of existential wonder. But at its core, it's about something as simple and as strange as the way we remember things. The term was first coined by a paranormal researcher named Fiona Broome. At a conference in the early 2010s, she found herself in conversation with others who, like her, clearly recalled Nelson Mandela dying in a South African prison sometime in the 1980s. They remembered not just hearing about it vaguely, but vividly recalling news clips, public mourning, and the global reaction to his passing. Shocked, Fiona Broome later discovered that Nelson Mandela had not in fact died decades earlier. He was released from prison, became the nation's first black president, and lived on until 2013. Yet thousands, perhaps millions, of people still insist that they can recall his funeral in the 80s. This collective misremembering sparked a question that has fueled conversations ever since. How can so many people recall an event that never happened? Is it a simple quirk of memory, or does it hint at something deeper, something more mysterious about reality itself? The Mandela Effect raises questions that challenge our sense of trust, not only in what we remember, but in the very fabric of history and the nature of our shared experiences. As the phenomenon gained traction online, more and more examples started to emerge. People began noticing tiny errors or strange inconsistencies, details that didn't quite match up with how they, and crucially, plenty of others, remembered them. Let's look at some of the most mind-blowing, most debated Mandela effects that have surfaced over the years. Many grew up reading about the lovable family of bears in children's books, always believing them to be the Berenstain Bears. For years, people swore by the familiar spelling with an E-I-N. But look at any book cover now, and you'll find Berenstain Bears with an A-I-N. The revelation has caused heated discussions and deep dives, with countless readers convinced that history has been altered, or that they've slipped into a universe where the spelling is different. Or how about one of the most iconic lines in movie history? Ask any fan of Star Wars, and they will probably quote Darth Vader by saying, "Luke, I am your father." Yet, if you go back and listen to the original footage, those exact words are never spoken. Vader actually says, "No, I'm your father." The collective certainty around this misquote has become so strong that it's even echoed in countless parodies, jokes, and media references, cementing the false memory even further. Then there's geography. Many people, especially those who grew up studying maps in the classroom, remember New Zealand being located to the northeast of Australia. But look at the map, and you'll find it to the southeast. It's a small shift, but one that many swear used to be otherwise. Some examples seem almost trivial, but they spark intense reactions just the same. The chocolate bar Kit Kat is a case in point. Millions of people are certain there used to be a dash between Kit and Kat. They can see it perfectly in their minds, perhaps recalling rappers from years past. However, there's no evidence such a dash ever existed. And what about Curious George, that mischievous, wide-eyed monkey? People remember him swinging from his tail, getting into trouble. But flip through any of his books or cartoons, and you'll notice something's missing. He never had a tail at all. These aren't just isolated memory blips. In each case, huge numbers of people remember the wrong version in exactly the same way. The volume and consistency of these misrememberings is what makes the Mandela Effect so fascinating and so unnerving. It makes us wonder, are we all just making the same mistakes, or is there something deeper at work? To make sense of these oddities, psychologists have offered a range of explanations rooted in the science of memory. The consensus is that the Mandela Effect arises out of something called false memories. Our brains are remarkable, but they are not perfect recorders of information. Instead, they constantly try to make sense of the world by filling in gaps, relying on patterns, and using what we already know to guess at what we might have otherwise forgotten. One concept at play is confabulation. The brain, rather than leaving a blank spot when a detail is missing, will invent or reconstruct information that fits the wider story. It's not lying. It's an unconscious error, a way of keeping the narrative coherent. If Stein endings are more familiar in English names than Stain, then it's no surprise that people default to Berenstein. Likewise, famous movie quotes might be reshaped over time, not out of deception, but because they sound more dramatic, or because pop culture repeats them incorrectly. Pattern recognition is another culprit. Our memories can be tricked when something fits into an established schema. The mind is wired to look for meaning and associations, even where none exist. Over time and through repeated exposure, the wrong version becomes entrenched. And then there's the power of the internet. A single misremembered flashpoint can go viral, reinforced in countless tweets, memes, and chat room conversations. The more people say they remember something a particular way, the more likely others are to believe they too hold the correct memory. Social reinforcement turns a personal misperception into a collective experience. But while psychological explanations are grounded in research, they don't fully satisfy everyone, especially those who feel uncanny certainty about a past that never was. Some theories go far beyond what science can currently explain. There are those who argue that the Mandela Effect is not just a quirk of memory, but a glimpse into the fundamental strangeness of the universe itself. Simulation theory suggests that reality as we know it isn't real at all. Instead, we might be living in a supremely complex computer simulation, like a vast video game. When something changes, when the code is rewritten, these glitches show up as faults in our collective memory, tiny cracks in the digital fabric we mistake for the natural world. Another mind-bending idea is that of alternate universes or parallel realities. What if, the theory goes, there are countless versions of the universe running side by side, each with its own history? Perhaps, through some unknown cosmic mechanism, we sometimes shift from one timeline to another, carrying with us the memories of a reality that is no longer current. Others look to the concept of collective consciousness. Could it be that at a deep subconscious level, our minds are connected, capable of shaping or warping each other's memories? When enough people believe in something, perhaps that belief is strong enough to alter the way events are remembered, and maybe even how reality unfolds. The truly unsettling part is that once you start looking, examples of the Mandela Effect seem to multiply. The more you dig, the deeper the rabbit hole goes. For some, it's simply a curious aspect of how minds work. For others, it's a mystery still in search of an answer, a hint that there may be more to reality than we can possibly imagine. The Mandela Effect continues to challenge our understanding, posing the hard question: can we ever really trust what we remember? So, what do you remember? Are you sure your memories are real? Or are we all part of something bigger, something beyond our understanding? Drop a comment and let us know which Mandela Effect blew your mind the most. And if you want more mind-twisting facts, hit that subscribe button and join the Truth Seekers. See you in the next video.